cultures, especially, or certain generations, don't feel that mental health is something that you talk about. You just take it, deal with it. One of the things that I do want to say that I've seen is people thinking that they only need a therapist if they're in a crisis, really bad situation. And that's really not the case. If you're in crisis, you probably need something more urgent. I think we all have had some sort of struggle at some point in our lives. And sometimes you feel like, maybe the people around you, they're the cause of some of the stress and you can't really talk about it to other people, or maybe you do have a little bit of embarrassment of talking to people that are closest to you. At any point in our lives when you're dealing with heartache, you're dealing with negative thoughts, obsessive thoughts, whatever that is, whatever is going on in your head that you think like, I don't feel like myself, like this is really stressing me out, whatever it is, that is when you should be seeking some professional help. That's when you can get a therapist to help you to deal with those things. Don't let it get worse, because our mental health spills over into every aspect of our lives, our family, our friends, our work, everything. So if there's something in your heart, if there's something in your mind that you feel is not okay, it's really, really important for people to understand that if you feel like you need some help, it's okay. It's okay to get that help at that time.
Welcome to the Ontario Homeowners Show. I'm Mohsen Lakhani, and this is the show where we get real about what it takes to own, maintain, and love your home. From renovations to raising a family, legal insights to mental health, no topic is off limits. This is about real people, real value, and real conversations to help you live better, right where you are. Each week, I sit down with trusted experts, service professionals, and local changemakers to bring you the strategies, stories, and solutions that make homeownership easier. This is the Ontario Homeowners Show, powered by the Vaughan Real Estate Advisors. Are you ready? Let's go. Claudia, thank you so much for joining us today at the Ontario Homeowners Show. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited, a little nervous to have a conversation, but yeah, let's go.
Amazing. Listen, I'm grateful you're here. All we're having today is a conversation about you, the services that your company provides us, and how you're literally helping homeowners live a better life right here, right in their homes.
Mhm.
Can you tell me a little bit about Vaughan Counselling and Psychotherapy, how you guys got started and your role there?
Yeah. So Vaughan Counselling and Psychotherapy started in 2019, so just before the pandemic. And we started out, very small, and we have grown now really just by word of mouth, before we really actually started marketing or anything. We've grown now to, I believe we're the largest clinic in York Region. We have over 40 therapists. We have psychotherapists, psychologists, social workers, naturopath, a great team of therapists here that speak over 25 languages, really very diverse culturally and just in their knowledge base and everything. Initially, it got started as a way to provide therapy for people in the community in Vaughan that were really couldn't necessarily afford it, just because, unfortunately, psychotherapy right now is not covered by our provincial health plan. So we really just wanted to make it accessible culturally, and financially as well, for people who need mental health services. So we worked through the pandemic, able to just continue with virtual services. We now have actually, we have two locations now, this one in Vaughan and one in Mississauga, and our clinic here is, our clinic here has 11 therapy rooms. So we're able to accommodate in-person and virtual, kids right up to seniors, families, couples, everyone.
Wow. That's impressive to say the least.
Oh.
You mentioned something along the lines of making it accessible for people who might not have, let's say, the financial ability. Can you tell me more about what that is and how that works?
Yeah, so we have something called a Pay What You Can program, and it's really just exactly what it states. It's pay what you can. So we know the value of therapy. We know that people have become much more aware, and much more. I guess there's still a bit of a stigma, around it.
There is.
But I think, especially after COVID, people have really opened up to focusing on mental health. People focus on their physical health and everything else, but really focusing on the mental health. But obviously, financially, it's still an issue. So, for clients who don't have insurance coverage, who aren't financially able to see a therapist, we have a Pay What You Can program where we can just talk about an affordable rate, where they are able to see their therapist on a weekly basis to help them during a time where they need somebody to really talk to and wouldn't be able to afford regular rate of sessions. So that's kind of where we really help cater to people with no insurance, lower income, etc.
Amazing. That's admirable because yes, you're right. There is a stigma that's attached to it. And I wish we as a community spoke more about the troubles that happen internally. There's a lot of issues, right? Like we all have something that we are possibly brought down by, or something that impacts us to a level where we're internally sort of either conflicted or having these battles. So it's great that you're not only providing that service in, did you say 25 plus languages?
Yep.
Wow. Right. So not only in 25 plus languages, but also providing it in such a manner that that brings it in a affordable price point and hopefully get more people to talk about it.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it's super super important for people to have access to it. Yeah, finances shouldn't be an issue, and of course, language barrier. Newcomers, anything like that. Some people just express themselves better in. I mean, Canada's such a multicultural country, and Vaughan also. Very very diverse and multicultural. So we really, our team really reflects that as well, and is able to
Amazing.
support all those communities.
Well, thank you for coming here, sharing all this info with us. As we move forward, I know in medical situations, doctor-patient confidentiality, is that something that happens within a, let's say, a therapist and a patient as well?
100%, and probably even more
Okay.
so.
So cool.
Yeah.
So not doxing anybody, but is there a way for you to share insights into, maybe the patient that had a lot going on for them,
Uh,
but they needed the service of maybe what Vaughan Counseling is providing? Can you share some insights into what that looks like?
I can't really go into specifics. We see kids, teens, couples, families, adults, seniors. Um, Everyone struggles with something at some point in their lives. We have people who are, just everyday anxiety, depression, grief. Grief can, can be so many different forms. It could be grief of, loss of the job, a loved one, a pet. I mean, it could be anything, a relationship, obviously relationship issues, family issues. We're just provide such a because of all of the therapists we have, because of the experiences that they have, we don't really, there's always someone to help. There's always someone to help in different situations. There's no one particular case. Every case is unique, but there are so many commonalities as well from person to person. So the therapists have really a lot of experience in so many different struggles.
So when you talk about the commonalities, I think it kind of just segues into my next question right away. Who do you find that benefits the most? Like, is there a common thread, like you mentioned, in these the types of challenges they're having?
I mean, ideally, we the client who is ready to see a change, the client who is open to having the conversation, a client who's willing to put in the work, to make those changes. Those are the ones, and who are consistent, right? Because if you see your therapist once and then you don't come back for a month, you're not going to really have that consistency, and you're really just playing catch up. You're just going to be sharing, just stories of, oh, and then this happened, and this happened, and this happened, this happened. And there's really no progress in terms of the struggles and how best to approach them, or the tools or techniques that the therapist can provide you to deal with some of the things you're struggling with. So ideally, the person who is open, honest about what they're struggling with, and willing to put in the work. Those are the ones who really benefit the most from therapy.
Let's say I'm conflicted internally, right? I've had challenges in life. Let's say my spouse doesn't know about it, my kids don't know about it. Nobody knows about the challenges I'm going through in life. And it's internally, it's kind of gnawing at me and kind of making me hollow, bitter, and then maybe just, not going in very dark, but it's not so bright and sunny either, right? However, for me to take advantage of therapy, I feel like maybe do I need to accept what's going on with me? And if so, how do I accept what's going on with me? How do I come to the terms that I need to make a decision to come see somebody?
I mean, I'm not a therapist myself, but I think as long as you come to therapy with something, even if you don't know how to name it, or what it is exactly you're looking for, but you're struggling, you bring that to therapy. And therapists can really try to help you understand what that is. What is the struggle? What are the issues that you feel are holding you back? So like I said, it's really about, I think personally, I think being open, like I said, being open, being introspective, and being willing to have those conversations, I think is already a huge stepping stone to work
Right.
towards, something more and the next steps. Yeah.
I agree because understanding, you might not understand what you're going through, right? If I'm going through something, nobody knows maybe like the pain or the heartbreak or the conflicts, or something that I'm mad about internally and can't voice my opinion. Could be a lot of different things, job losses, right? Um, but I think it's knowing that such a service, there are people out there to help you, and there's no possibly shame, if I may use that word, to take that step and call somebody and book an appointment. I think that on its own is, the first path, the first step to feeling better.
Yeah, absolutely. Just saying, just being able to say, I think I need some help,
That takes a lot of strength
yeah,
to
that's
say that as
huge.
well.
That's a huge first step.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so I've made the decision. I've trembled and I've finally called and I've dialed. I've heard the bell ring and I've stopped it. I've ended the call. I've tried it again. A few times I've gone through and I'm like, you know what? I need help. I need to see somebody. What does that experience look like when I walk into the clinic? What's the first visit, the initial visit? What does that look like?
So realistically, we have our administrative staff who are going to ask you a few questions, and asking those questions are really going to be able to help them match you with the best therapist. So it's really, again, just getting a little bit of understanding of what it is you're looking for, what you're coming to therapy for, so that we can then match with the best therapist that we feel would be fit for you. We're not probing, in a first call. It's just to be able to get that right match. If it's language specific, culturally specific, there could be some of those requests as well. And yeah, and then just setting up that first visit with a therapist. So in therapy, obviously, every therapist is going to be a little bit different. But the first visit is really just to really understand, what the struggles are. The therapist can also talk about their approaches, and how they've helped, people with similar presenting issues. Yeah, and then your therapist works with you, to work towards goals and a plan. And therapist isn't going to tell you you're right, you're wrong, you should do this, you should do that. Therapist is there to help you understand you, and make those uh, changes and recognitions, whatever that is. And it's your journey. So they're just there to help you through that.
What happens if let's say I've gone through the intake and I get assigned a therapist, but I didn't like maybe where the conversation was headed, or I feel they're not being very helpful. Do I have the ability to change to another therapist?
Yeah, of course.
What does
I
that look
mean,
like?
yeah, I mean, we're not matchmakers. It's not kind of where what we do, but of course we try with as much information as we get to try to get a good match. But yeah, sometimes, personalities kind of don't click. Like I said, we have over 40 therapists. Call the admin, just let them know, hey, didn't really click, not quite sure. Maybe you can say what it was. Maybe you're not quite sure, it just didn't feel right. We'll certainly have a conversation about someone else that may be a better fit. Sometimes it's a person's approach. Like sometimes people also don't know what it is they're looking for in a therapist if they haven't been to therapy before. Maybe they feel like their therapist was a little too soft and they want someone who's a little bit more direct or vice versa, right? So, it really just depends sometimes on personalities. But we have other options for sure.
Amazing. You have a program in place. You mentioned for low cost therapy sessions.
Mhm.
What is that program called again?
It's pay what you can.
Pay what you can. Okay.
Mhm.
So is there a minimum charge or maximum charge, or how does that work?
Yeah, so Pay What You Can program is offered through our intern therapists. So they are master students in psychotherapy, and they offer a lower rate than our other psychotherapists or social workers, psychologists. Their rate's already at a lower rate. However, when it comes to the Pay What You Can program, they're able to provide a sliding scale rate. I wouldn't say that there's a minimum, but their rate at a maximum would be 120, whereas our other therapists would be 160 to 180, even higher than that for psychologists. So it's really just about having a conversation with the client about an affordable rate. We have some people paying 100 or 80, 60, it just really depends on the affordability rate and especially being consistent. To get the most out of therapy, it should really be on a weekly basis. So really what's affordable for you on a weekly basis for therapy. So they're still under supervision, so they do get support with their clients, and if there's particular situations that they just need to talk to their supervisor about. They have supervisors to have that conversation with as well, so that you're not solely relying, on an intern therapist to figure things out. They do have a fully independent registered psychotherapist supporting them as well, so it's kind of getting two for one in a way. So,
I
and
think it's price is always something that's going to be debatable, right?
yes,
Especially since you mentioned it's not covered under OHIP,
yeah. Mhm.
right? So it's times are tough,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
People who are making six-figure salaries are no longer, they're more worried about, will I have a job tomorrow? Not, right?
yeah. The job
Um,
stability isn't there anymore. There's so many
it's a big
different
issue.
factors, global,
Yeah.
global things
Well, I
happening.
mean, hey, if there are people who do need your services, do you plan on going cross border?
Our therapists are licensed to practice in Ontario, so we'll stay in Ontario.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, look, therapy is a taboo topic. My parents maybe don't want to talk about it. My grandparents, even more so, they would rather not talk about what's going on right here, right? Or right here, honestly. But I feel like we need to talk more about it. The lack of not talking about it
Mhm.
has created a lot of disconnect, has created a lot of misconceptions. Could you possibly break one of these myths that exists today about mental health?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that you talked about, like taboo and culturally, certain cultures, especially, or certain generations, don't feel that mental health is something that you talk about. You just take it, deal with it. One of the things that I do want to say that I've seen, it's kind of come across in different circles as well, is people thinking that they only need a therapist if they're in a, crisis, really bad situation. And that's really not the case. If you're in crisis, you probably need something more urgent. But like I mentioned before, I think we all have had some sort of struggle at some point in our lives. And sometimes you feel like, maybe the people around you don't really understand, or maybe they're the cause of some of the stress and you can't really talk about it to other people, or you do have a little bit, maybe you do have a little bit of that, embarrassment of talking to people that are closest to you. But I think that, at any point in our lives when you need a professional, if you have, if you have a pain in your back, you can tell your family and friends, but if they're not doctors, well, how are they gonna help you, right? At some point, you're gonna go to a doctor and say something, and to try to relieve that pain. So in the same way, when you're dealing with heartache, you're dealing with negative thoughts, obsessive thoughts, whatever that is, whatever is going on in your head that you think like, I don't feel like myself, like this is really stressing me out, whatever it is, that is when you should be seeking some professional help. That's when you can get a therapist to help you to deal with those things. Don't let it get worse, because our mental health spills over into every aspect of our lives. Our family, our friends, our work, um, everything. So um if there's something in your heart, if there's something in your mind that you feel is not okay, like I've been there personally, I had to seek therapy years before I even started working here at this clinic. And because I wasn't feeling like me, I wasn't feeling like I was, giving I was so, stressed and depressed, after losing my mom, that I felt like I wasn't my normal me. I wasn't a normal wife. I wasn't a normal mom. I wasn't a normal person at work. I needed somebody professional to talk to. And so it really helped me, to be able to get back to myself again and feel like I could then handle, those little things in life that were somehow in my head were so much bigger because of where I was at in my life, and not feeling like I was doing everything that I could, for my family, for my friends, for my work. I just wasn't in a good space. So it's really, really important for people to understand that if you feel like you need some help, it's okay. It's okay to get that help at
Okay.
that time.
Thank you. I know you kind of went into a vulnerable position there. So thank you for sharing that personal experience, because I've grown up in a household, and I know countless other people have grown up in a household where they're like, mental health? What mental health? Focus on your studies, get your work done, go outside, do this. You need to get your head straight. Like, yeah, I need to get my head straight. That's part of, you know, the help I possibly need.
Yeah.
Right. And then when you start thinking about it, there's a different side. Is, am I going crazy? No, you're not. It's part of living life. And part of living life is asking for help. And asking for help, I don't think there's shame associated with that. And if anything, it's allowed me to show up better, become a much better person than I was, maybe, or accept things that are out of my control and just make the most out of it. And then one foot after the other.
Yep.
And that way I don't feel, why me? What's this? Why
Yeah.
is this?
Yeah.
Right?
It's not necessarily, yes, yeah, it's not necessarily gonna solve your problems, but like you mentioned, it gave you some tools. It gave you a different kind of mindset, on how to deal with life, you know, on how to deal with your day to day. And that's what's really important. It's not, it may not get rid of your problems or your worries, but it allows you to handle them in a more positive way, I think. And I think,
Sometimes it's okay to just say it out loud, and then
yeah, and
once,
sometimes that's all it is. It's
even
just,
today,
mhm.
that's all I need. Even today, sometimes that's all I need. I just need to voice it, and I'll talk about it, and immediately I'm like, I should have done this 7 days ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's just that acknowledgement, that's really important. Yeah.
Amazing.
Mhm,
Thank you. But there's more to home ownership than just the four walls, right? Lately, there's an added element of financial strain. There's an added element of unemployment. Everything rising in cost, but nothing rising in income. So keeping that in mind, stress levels are super high. There's loss sort of all around us, and maybe therapy is perfect for a homeowner. Maybe it's not. Do you have programs, platforms in place that can help a homeowner realize that this is what they need?
If life stresses are getting to you, and you feel like you need someone to talk to about it, there's no shame in it, right? There's no like I said, there's common threads that run through a lot of the clients, and obviously we understand that financial, like, that's why we have a pay what you can program, right? There are a lot of financial issues that um affect people, housing and food and job and everything. So it's really just about, um, you know, we've been talking about, just seeking the help if you need it. Being a homeowner, yes, it comes with its stresses. You've got mortgage to pay. You're trying to keep that job to pay the bills and, to feed yourself and the family or whoever that may be. All of those stresses can really, really add up and make you feel like there's a sense of, you don't have control over some of those things, and that can be very stressful. Seeking support, if you're in a situation like that, like I said, maybe not going to solve your problem. We're not going to, make money, in the clinic, to produce,
Out of thin air.
yeah, out of thin air. We don't have money trees or something like that. It may not solve the problem, but it'll help you.
It's an outlet to
Yeah, just be able
maybe
to talk
vent.
about it. Yeah, vent a little bit, talk about it, understand, what those stressors are, which ones you can control, which ones you can't, how to deal with, having a panic attack, how to deal with those feelings, and maybe sometimes what happens too is we end up, because we're not able to deal with those stressors, we end up it ends up affecting relationship we have with other people, and usually it's the people that are closest to us. So that can cause some issues as well. So it's, getting to the root of the problem and understanding why those issues are happening, and trying to deal with those. So everything's connected, right? Um, everything's connected. So our mental health is so, so, so important, because it trickles over into every aspect.
Everything else.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Amazing. As we wrap up,
Mhm.
what does it mean for you to be an Ontario homeowner?
For me, I think for me, the first thing that comes to my mind is pride and ownership, that, I have a home that my children have grown up in, that my family has grown up in a neighborhood that we like. Bought our home many years ago. I don't know, what would happen if we were today's day and age, if we were looking to buy a home, what we'd be able to afford, or not afford. But I think regardless, like our first home was tiny, but we still had pride and ownership. I think that's something so important. You have what you have, be proud of it and make it yours. That's
Amazing.
Well,
Amazing. Claudia, thank you so much for your time today. How can people get in touch with you?
Thanks. Yeah, so we have two locations for in-person sessions, one in Vaughan and one in Mississauga. We are available virtually across Ontario, of course. And they can book online at vaughanpsychotherapist.com, or follow us on Instagram, Vaughan Counseling.
Perfect. Folks, that's it. We're going to put all of that into the show notes below, along with the website, the addresses, the phone numbers, as well as the Instagram link. If you have any questions for Claudia and her team, for Vaughan Counselling and Psychotherapy, feel free to reach out to them. All of that is going to be posted in the show notes below.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on the Ontario Homeowner Show today. I don't know what resonated with you the most, but the people we bring on here, the guests that we're bringing on here, they're the real change makers. They're going out there doing the work that makes real life better. One home, one family, one conversation at a time. And if you want the highlights, tools, and guest takeaways straight into your inbox, go to ontariohomeownershow.ca and leave us your name and email. Until I see you next time, have a good one.